We are going to start today with a brand new word. Today's word is compose. Say that with me.
Compose.
Tell your neighbor.
Compose.
Whisper it to the ceiling. Compose. Grumble it at the door. Compose. Awesome job. What's that word one more time?
Compose.
Raise your hand if you have heard the word compose before. If you have heard it before. 6 people. Raise your hand if you have never heard the word compose before. Excellent. Because we're going to talk about that word today. But first, before I tell you about that word, I'm going to give you a chance to make a prediction with your elbow partner. One moment. You're going to whisper, you're going to turn and talk about a prediction. You're going to say, I predict. Say that with me. I predict. Compose means. And then you're going to tell your friend what you think it means. I predict compose means. And then you're going to say it. Ready? Turn and talk. Wait. Turn this way. I predict.
Like they're the same.
Does that sound like a word you heard earlier today? Like what word?
Like the word inside our science book.
What was that word?
Compose.
It was compare. But does it sound similar?
Yeah.
Good idea. Fantastic job with your zero noise signal. Okay, I'm going to take a few hands, probably 3 hands, and you're going to use those words. I predict compose means, can you say that sentence? Yeah?
I predict that compose means?
What do you think it means?
I think it means like the recycling compose.
Like recycling? Why do you think that?
Because
You're composed to recycle? You've heard it before that way? Awesome idea. Did you have a prediction? Okay, what do you think it means?
Working together.
I predict compose means working together. Why do you think that? Have you heard it before?
No, not really.
But you think we're going to talk about working together today?
No.
Oh, that was her idea? Thank you for sharing your partner's idea. Last one. I predict
that compose means predict.
Predict? Oh, why do you think that? Because it's an important word? I saw your friend help you. Do you want to add to that idea?
No, I just came up with it.
You just came up with it. That's okay. So today we're going to talk about the word compose. But every time I say the word compose, you're going to repeat it. What's the word?
Compose.
And you're going to say to write. Can you do that? To write. So let's practice that. Compose. Compose. To write. Compose. And then you say the word at the end. Ready? Compose.
Compose.
To write. Compose. And you're going to want to do this with your hand because that message is going to travel up your arm to your brain and help you remember the word compose.
Compose.
To write. Compose. Excellent job. Okay, I'm going to ask you to turn your eyes to this brand new chart. Okay, we're going to talk about compose a little bit later, but for right now, we're going to switch gears because we're going to compose some sentences about what you're learning about in science right now. What are you learning about in science right now? Whisper with your neighbor real quick. What are you learning in science?
Living things and non-living things. Living things and non-living and living things and non-living things that don't live.
Excellent. I heard you all say it. We are working on living and non-living. So we're going to talk about both kinds. This line separates my paper because we are going to compare living and non-living things. Hold your question. Thank you. We're going to start with non-living things. And I want to point your attention to the very beginning of that. This says non. Say that with me.
Non.
When you see the word non, you can think of it like not. Non means not. So non-living must mean
Not living.
these are things that are not living. For example, a pencil. I'm going to draw one for you right now. We know that pencils are not living. They are non-living items. And we know that for a couple of reasons. Here's the first reason. The first thing I know about pencils that's different from living things is that they do not grow. I can tell you, I was composing something one day, and I was wishing my pencil would grow because I ran out of pencil. I had so much to say. But pencils are non-living. They do not grow. Say that with me.
They do not grow.
For today, I'm going to have you put your hands down. I will give you a chance to say what you want to say. Here's another thing that I know about pencils. Pencils do not change on their own. They do change over time, don't they? They get smaller as we use them. They change when we sharpen them in the sharpener. But they don't do any of that changing on their own. Let's say that together. Do not change on their own. Who does the changing to pencils? Who makes pencils change? What do you think?
Pencil sharpener.
Pencil sharpeners. And who controls the pencil sharpeners? Everybody? We do. Pencils can't change on their own because they are non-living. What are they?
Non-living.
Excellent. Very good job. Last thing I know about pencils, because they're not living, this one has a lot of important words that I will define for you.
Produce.
Wow, nice reading. That says produce. They do not produce offspring. Say that with me. Do not produce offspring. If you think you know what that means, tell somebody next to you in a whisper. Have you heard that before? No? Do you think you've heard that before?
Yeah, they don't produce tiny baby pencils.
What does...
Tiny baby pencils.
Did you hear what she said?
No.
They don't produce tiny baby pencils. Offspring is your babies, right? So if a baby cow has a baby, it's called its offspring. Do pencils have baby pencils?
No.
They don't make more pencils. Boy, I wish they would. Wouldn't that be great? You know what would be really great is if chocolate cake produced offspring. And every time I had chocolate cake, I would have more chocolate cake. That's not a thing. They're non-living. It doesn't make more baby pencils. Nice job. Have you heard that somewhere before?
Mrs. Noble always says that about the chair.
Oh, Miss Noble says that about the chair. Excellent. So here's what I want you to do. You're going to have a chance to talk with your friends. And you're going to come up with a list of examples of non-living things. You can get ideas from around the room or just think about what you know about the world. You're going to list at least 3 non-living things with your elbow partner. Are you ready? Go.
Paper. Cars on books. Paper on books. And books and paper. And books and cards. Cars are non-living. Paper are non-living. And cars are non-living.
So many. Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to write really small because I'm only going to call on 4 of you. But I'm going to leave lots of space, and maybe Mrs. Noble will let you add to this chart later. Okay? Just 4 hands. Can you handle that? Here we go. Number 1. What's an example of a non-living thing?
A pen and a coat.
A what? A coat? Did you say a coat?
Yes.
Are coats alive?
No.
Do they make baby coats?
No.
Do they change on their own?
No.
Do they grow?
No.
That'd be nice. You'd only have to buy one coat your whole life. Excellent example. If you agree with that, you can give a little thumbs up right here. Okay, example number 2, right here.
Books.
Books? Do you agree? Can somebody else tell me why books are non-living? Using this information here. Why are books non-living? What do you think?
Books are not living because they don't make little baby books.
They don't. Books don't make more books. And what else do you think about books? Mm-hmm. They can't change on their own. We have to change them. We have to turn the pages and do what we need to do with books. 2 more examples. Yes, ma'am? A chair. A chair is non-living. Does it grow?
No.
It does not. It doesn't do any growing. Last one.
Paper?
Paper. I heard a lot of people say that. Thumb right here. And you're doing a connection. Good job. I agree. Paper is non-living. Are you ready to move on?
Yeah.
I think we're ready.
Could you do pink for a life?
Oh my gosh. How did you read my mind?
Because I love pink and girls like pink too.
I think boys and girls like pink. We're going to talk about living. Say that with me. Living. Say it with me. Living. Living things like a flower. And I'm going to draw one for you.
Oh, that's a pretty flower.
So, back to what we know about non-living. They do not grow. But I do know that flowers are living because they do grow. What do flowers do?
Grow.
Here's another thing that flowers do. They change. Flowers change. They sprout. They might grow leaves. They might die. And all flowers create more flowers. And we call that what? Say it with me. Produce offspring. Flowers produce offspring. This is how they're different. So, non-living, no offspring. Living, offspring. These don't grow and these do. These don't change and these do. So I'm going to have you put your heads back together in just a moment. And this time I'm going to remember to use our signal word. Remind your friends what it is in a whisper. Compose. To right. Compose. That's how I'll bring you back after this turn and talk. You're going to create a list of living things. Are you ready to do that?
Yes.
I'm going to give you a chance to meet with somebody across the carpet from you, but you have to stand and walk safely and listen for my signal. Are you ready? Compose.
Compose.
To right. Compose. Okay, go find somebody to talk with in a whisper.
Still talking cow or
What do you think?
I think living things.
What are some examples of that? A what?
Elephants.
Elephants? Because do they grow?
Yes.
Do they change? Do they produce offspring? Fantastic idea. Like Babar?
Have babies.
They do have babies. That's offspring. Can you say offspring? Excellent. 5 seconds.
And non-living, which makes
Compose.
compose. Right. Compose.
Let's do that one more time just for fun. Compose. Compose. To write. Compose. Excellent. I should have all your eyes up here. Okay. Just like before, I'm going to take 4 examples because there are so many, right? This world has so many living things. And I'll leave space so you can add to this poster later. Right here.
Us.
Us? What are we?
Humans.
Humans. Do we grow?
Yes.
Do we change?
Yes.
My goodness, we do change, don't we? Do you look like you look when you were 2 years old?
Yes.
You've changed and you've grown. And someday, you might produce offspring, right? Okay. Yes, sir. So excited. Cheetahs. Do they do all of that also?
Yes.
They do. They grow and they change. Okay, right here.
A whale and a shark.
Whales and sharks. Excellent. So far, we have lots of examples of things that move. Animals, and we're considered animals. Can you think of anything else that's living, that's not an animal, that grows and changes and produces offspring? What do you think?
A daisy.
A daisy, an example of a flower. Nice job. What about outside on the playground? What are those called? Everyone?
A moose.
Trees. What else did you say?
A moose.
A moose. Grass. Excellent job. I'm going to say trees. You did such a fantastic job. This is now our information. Say information. Information that we're going to use to compose.
Compose. To write. Compose.
Fantastic job. Okay, I have a little bit more time. I'm going to just keep on moving on. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
So when you compose or write sentences, it's good to... Oh, wait, Wait, hold on. Let me get myself settled and get my brain going. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so when you compose...
Compose. Write. Compose.
It's a good idea to plan ahead and to organize your thoughts before you go and write full sentences and illustrate your writing, right? I know you've talked about all those steps with your teacher before. Today we're going to talk about a graphic organizer. Graphic means we get to draw a little. But here's where we're going to do the bulk of our work. We're going to organize our thoughts so that our writing makes sense. I'm going to say it again. It's so important. We're going to organize our thoughts so our writing makes sense. And we have a checklist up here of what we need to do. First, we're going to introduce our topic. What did we talk about? What was our topic of our information? Say it with me. Living and non-living. Excellent. We're going to supply facts and information. Did we have a lot of information?
Yeah.
About how living and non-living are the same and different?
No. Yeah.
Did we learn about how they're different?
Yes.
And we have lots of examples, don't we? And then we're going to provide closure. It's kind of like telling a story. You want it to have a good ending. But we're not telling a story because we are giving information. Are you ready for that? Here we go. Our first job is to introduce the topic. Turn and tell your neighbor what our first job is. Excellent. We're going to introduce the topic. So here's where I can do a little sketching first to sort of get my brain in the right space. What can I sketch here? If I have a job of telling somebody information about living and non-living things, what can I sketch to help me? What do you think? Go ahead, just tell me. What should I draw?
Cheetah.
A cheetah?
A car.
A car?
A soccer ball.
A cat? A soccer ball? So I'm hearing
A horse.
2 different things. You know what I'm going to do? Thank you for all your ideas. I'm going to split it in half just like this, and I'm going to take 2 of the items you told me about. A soccer ball. Should that go in living or non-living?
Non-living.
Non-living. Here's my soccer ball. Oh boy, I chose a tough one. We'll just pretend. Sound good? Close enough. Soccer ball. And for living, I heard somebody say cheetah. I can't draw one. I think I'm going to try a cat.
Aww.
Which is a type, right? A cheetah is a big cat. Close enough?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I need to think of a sentence that introduces the readers to my topic because we write so people can understand us. What do we want to say about living and non-living things? I want to warn you. Do I have all your attention?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you a different color because these 3 boxes here are going to be my facts and information. So I don't need to tell any of this yet because all of this poster are my facts and information. We're going to save that. All I need to do is tell the readers what I'm going to be writing about today. What am I writing about today?
Living and non-living things.
Do you have an idea for a sentence?
The cheetah kicks the ball.
Are you helping with the pictures? Good idea. I might have made my pictures too specific. This is just to help me remember I'm talking about living and non-living things. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah.
My job is to explain to the reader about living and non-living things. And are they the same?
No.
What are they?
They are 2 different things.
They're different.
Because one side is non-living and the other side is living.
Do we know a lot of differences between these 2 things?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to write about. So, living and what's my other one?
Non-living things.
Oh, I like the way you said things. Can I borrow that? Thank you. Are, what did I say? Are they the same? What are they?
Are different.
Oh, fantastic. Excellent first sentence. Let's read it together. Living and non-living things are different. I have introduced the topic. All I said was my topic. That's it. Now on to the good part. Facts and information. Facts and information. I would like you to check out our source, our facts and information, and tell me one way living and non-living things are different. I'm going to give you a heads together with your partner at a whisper. One way living and non-living things are different. Ready? Go. What was your idea?
Living things can't grow. Non-living things can't grow.
Oh, thank you. Oh, they're halfway. Compose. To write. Compose. One more time. Compose.
Compose. To write. Compose.
I really like it when you do this with your hand. Do you remember why I said we do that with our hand? It helps the message
Go to your brain.
so we can remember what the word means. Okay, one way that living and non-living things are different. Who can help with that? Let's see. Yes, right here.
Living things reproduce and non-living things don't reproduce.
I like the word reproduce, but for those of us in here who don't know what that means, can you help us? Or don't remember?
Living things make babies, but non-living things don't make babies.
And what did we call babies on here? Offspring. Because sometimes a flower making new flowers, do we call them baby flowers?
No.
They're just new flowers, right? And that's called reproducing. It's offspring. Nice job. So, I like what you said. I'm going to do a little sketch here to help me remember that. And I'm going to do, let's see, a big cat produces offspring by making little baby kittens. There they are.
Oh, that looks so cute.
So cute. They're so cute.
I have to write that eye.
Oh, well, we're going to pretend. Okay. Do you remember what she said for her sentence? She started with living things.
Living things and non-living things.
Oops, are we telling about both? What do living things do? Do you remember what she said?
No, it was just about the next one.
Oh, hold on to that thought. We'll get there. Reproduce. Can we use these words, though? Is that okay with you? If we use straight from our source? I like that. Living things, help me. Nope, not that one right here.
Produce offspring.
They do?
Produce offspring.
Thank you for saying that. How is that different from non-living things?
Like a soccer ball can't make babies.
It can't. So living things produce offspring, but non-living things, help me finish that. Don't, or do not, or cannot. Let's say cannot.
Or can't.
Or can't. Can we read that together? Living things produce offspring, but non-living things cannot. Okay, back to the source. Come up with our next sentence. Real quick this time, because I know you've already talked about it. Heads together.
I think non-living because they do not because non-living things don't change. A kitten can't make a kitten.
You ready? What's another? So we have, I'm going to put little check marks next to it. I'll do it in black so it doesn't get messed up with our color coding. We talked about offspring. What other information can we get from here? How are living and non-living things different right here?
Non-living things don't grow, but living things do, like us people.
Like people. I like how you added an example at the end of that. Right here. Humans. Did you hear the whole sentence?
Yeah.
What was it about? What section was it about? Who heard it? What was he talking about? What can I put a check mark next to?
Living things.
Do what?
Reproduce.
Oops, that was the last one. What was the new one?
I think change.
What did you say? Did you say change? Grow. We'll come back to change. Good. And non-living do not. So he started this time with non-living things don't what?
Don't reproduce. Do
Oops.
not grow.
We're talking about
Do not grow.
do not grow. But living things
Good.
do. Like who?
Like me, us.
Like us. Can I say humans?
Yeah.
What a fantastic sentence. And I'm going to do an up arrow for growing for my little sketch. Are you ready? Let's read it together. Let's stand up and read this sentence together. Ready? Here we go. Non-living things don't grow, but living things do. Like humans. I love the example at the end of that. Okay, we have one piece of information missing. You may walk to a new elbow partner and come up with a sentence, a full sentence.
Maybe non-things do A soccer ball can't live. A soccer ball can't grow. She can change, but like no, soccer balls can't.
We talked about grow and we talked about offspring. What's left?
By losing air, but they can't change by themselves. Nail polish can't make baby nail polish.
That's true. That's a good idea. Find your seats. Compose.
Compose.
To write, compose. Have a seat. Okay, final sentence.
Okay. Soccer balls can't change. When they lose air, they can change, but they're flat. And they can't change by themselves, but we have to change them.
Humans have to change them. I like the way you used a specific example. Is everybody okay with that example?
Can change, because they can like reproduce their offspring.
Mm-hmm. Or what do we know about an animal that changes into another animal? Have you learned about that in science? Something with lots of feet turning into something with wings? Say it if you know it.
A butterfly.
Caterpillar to butterfly is an example of a change. Okay, so I heard you say something about changing. So,
Soccer balls don't change.
because they are
Can't change.
soccer balls can't change on
Air.
own. Because, do you remember he said because they are?
Non-living.
Fantastic.
Are non-living.
And if I had more space and more time, we might add the example of a living thing that does change. But there's my next time. Okay, we're going to wrap this up. Are you ready?
Yeah.
We'll give this a little check mark because we talked about change, and then we're providing closure. Like the end of a story, except we're going to finish our information. Here's the important thing to remember, is that when you wrap up informative writing, you want to make sure, do I have all your attention?
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you don't give any new facts in the ending, because that's going to make me want more. I need to let the reader know I'm done talking about this. So we're just going to wrap it up. Good timing. With living and non-living one more time by saying what we learned overall. Just a big bow, a finished present for our reader. So I'm going to do this one for us. Are you ready? So at the top we said, living and non-living things are different. I'm going to say that in a new way. There are many differences about, thank you for that help, living and non-living things. Get ready to read that with me. Here we go. There are many differences about living and non-living things. Did we give any new information there? That's tricky, but we did not. You did a fantastic job. Give yourself a pat on the back. Awesome job.